A 10-year long-distance relationship. Hardy broke up with me abruptly, and then married his classmate quickly. I'm nearly 30, and I've been rejected in many arranged meetings. 5 years later, at a class reunion, they are a glamorous middle-class couple, driving a Mercedes, wearing Arc'teryx, and carrying LV, while I rode a bicycle to the event and was isolated in a corner. Until someone asked mockingly, "Jennifer, why isn't your husband here?" I smiled and said, "He is ringing the bell at NASDAQ." Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. I met Hardy in my first year of college. When I first arrived in this unfamiliar big city, I met an old couple who asked for help with their travel expenses at the school gate. I was chased and scolded after I refused. Not a bit of kindness at such a young age. "You little brat. So ungrateful. Who will ever want you in the future?" My face turned red, and I was trembling with anger. Hardy showed up at that moment. A group of young boys passed by, at the age of passion, and stood in front of me to protect me. Hardy was the most handsome and outgoing one among them. He had a Wilson basketball in his hand, and limited edition sneakers on his feet. He showed me a row of white teeth. "Little sister, are you okay?" Of course. He soon found out that I was in the same school and grade as him, and wasn't really a junior. But that didn't stop him from chasing me. We ended up together like that. He comes from a local middle-class family. I'm from a county in another province. The next year, Hardy took me to meet his parents. I was carrying fruits, and nervously following Hardy behind. To my surprise, Hardy's mother was very kind to me. I let out a sigh of relief. Hardy made faces at me and said, "See, I told you my mom would like you." I couldn't help but feel happy. At that time, I didn't know Hardy's mother wasn't actually fond of me. It was just because Hardy was a boy. Just dating. Hardy won't get hurt. So, we dated from freshman year to senior year, the year we graduated from college. My parents wanted me to go back home, but I couldn't find a good job back home. I told Hardy about this. Hardy nervously grabbed my hand. "No, you can't go back. But the cost of living here is too high. I'm not sure if I can make it through." Hardy hugged me tightly. "It's okay. I'll have my dad find you a relaxed job, and the money is on me. You just need to be my wife." At that moment, my hesitation and anxiety were all dispelled by Hardy completely. I didn't really need Hardy to help me find a job. I just wanted to have a possible safety net and a fallback option. My major is easier to find a job than Hardy's. Finally, Hardy went to a company owned by his father's friend to work in human resources. I went through multiple interviews and joined a top internet company as a product manager. I stayed in this city. However, every seemingly perfect moment in life is not the end. Getting the first place in middle school was not. Getting into a good university was not. It's not about being together with him. Entering the marriage hall is not it either. Having children is even less so. About marriage. The second year after graduation, my parents urged me to let Hardy make a statement. I was too embarrassed to bring it up, feeling that if I did, it would make me seem too eager to get married. So I just joked about it. Hardy paused his gaming, as if he hadn't heard. Hardy's mother remained very kind, but never mentioned marriage. The fourth year after graduation, my college roommate asked me why I wasn't married yet. I said casually, "Still young. No rush to step into the tomb of love." Blink. Sixth year after graduation. Also the 10th year of our relationship. Valentine's Day. I booked a restaurant with a very romantic atmosphere. Halfway through the meal, I smiled and asked Hardy, "Should we think about getting married?" Under the romantic candlelight, Hardy, his originally tender and affectionate expression suddenly became cold. He said, "Okay, I'll go back and talk to my mom." I let out a breath of relief, quickly changing the subject to avoid the awkwardness that was barely there. But later, there was no further development. I asked a few times, and he always looked annoyed. Finally, during an argument over a small issue, he finally told the truth. "Jennifer, my mom doesn't agree to me marrying you." I stood there in shock. My heart wasn't as surprised as I had imagined. The argument suddenly stopped. Hardy realized what he had said, but he didn't try to take it back, remained silent, and even took out his phone. My anger is not like fire, but more like a lake that spreads in waves, repressed and cold. "So, you never intended to marry me, did you?" Hardy frustratedly rubbed his eyebrows. He seemed to have given up, saying, "Why can't we just keep dating? Why must we get married? What's the use of a marriage certificate? And you're in the rising phase of your career. Isn't this affecting your work?" Every one of them was an excuse. Every sentence was an attempt to find a reason. I interrupted him. "Hardy, you really make me sick." It was someone I was extremely familiar with. Yet at that moment, they felt completely unfamiliar. I couldn't help but shed tears. Hardy was never someone who would take being hit or insulted, and he had long passed the stage where my tears would move him. He muttered something under his breath and then looked at me mockingly. "Jennifer, don't act like you're so wronged and so in love with me. Isn't that what you wanted? To marry someone from here? My mom's workplace has plenty of girls like you from other places. I'm already the best you can get. And you're pushing so hard because you're afraid of losing me. Right?" He hadn't finished speaking when I turned and left. That night, I stayed at a friend's house. The next day, I looked at the person with swollen eyes in the mirror and rushed to wash my face. As an adult, even if I feel terrible, I still have to go to work. I and Hardy have had arguments before. Every time we quarrel, we always make up eventually. Friend said. This time Hardy went too far, and I shouldn't forgive him easily. I just replied with a, "Okay." Hardy's message popped up immediately. "It's important to have compatible social status. Jennifer, let's break up." My phone almost fell to the ground. After a sudden breakup, I couldn't help but look again. Hardy all social media platforms. I tried to find evidence that he still loved me, but I found nothing. I kept looking over and over again, until he posted a short video, sent to me. He was walking hand in hand with a girl in the sunlight. I opened it and heard Hardy's mother's voice. "Suitable. Suitable. Get closer." This relationship was open and honest, and it received the blessings I had never gotten. The text in the picture said, "Don't sneak around like a rat in the gutter, watching others' happiness anymore." I didn't shed another tear. My hands were shaking so much. I kept missing the button when deleting Hardy. After knowing I broke up, my mom's desire for me to come back flared up again. "You're broken up. What's the point of staying there?" Aunt chimed in. "Go back quickly. You know, I've already arranged several excellent young men for you, but they all think you're too old." I refused as usual, but the reason I refused no longer included Hardy. I worked in an internet giant company for 6 years. My experience and ability here have already reached their peak, but my status of having a partner and being unmarried and childless has always been a key obstacle to my promotion. After the breakup, I focused entirely on work. I had been almost living at the company for a long time. At the end of the year, I was the one with the best KPI in the team. But in the end, I was given praise and empty promises. The promotion spot was given to another colleague who has a wife and children. In the group, the colleague who got promoted sent out a message, asking everyone to have coffee. Below the line, "Thank you, boss." Meme. There were also a few jokes. If I become rich and famous, I looked out the floor-to-ceiling window. Skyscrapers stand tall, and traffic flows endlessly, one after another. People have sat here, each similar to me yet not. Maybe I should take a different path. That day, I submitted my resignation. Many years later, when I recalled that moment, it was still clear. Many important decisions in life are often made on a very calm day. 5 years later, class reunion. Probably only half of the class showed up. Long-separated classmates looked at my bicycle without showing any emotion. "This is not Jennifer." I greeted him. "It's been a while." Before I could finish speaking, a Mercedes pulled up, and a well-dressed beautiful woman got out from the passenger seat. She was wearing a Chanel-style suit and looked a bit younger than us. I thought for a long time and finally realized. That was Hardy's wife, Frida. She was 4 or 5 years younger than us. She had a face that looked like she had never worked a day in her life. Perfectly groomed down to her toes, carrying a Chanel. Hardy insisted that I come along. It's so annoying. I don't even know her. Upon hearing this, someone quickly changed the subject. "Just come a few more times and you'll get to know each other." They surrounded her and went in. That boy who greeted me never gave me another glance again. After sitting down, they left the main seat for Frida and for Hardy. I was pushed to the corner and sat down somewhere randomly. But after a while, the topic somehow turned to me. Frida looked at me. "You are Sis Erica." Sis Erica. I was stunned for a moment. Few people call me that. Usually they call me MS. Erica. Hardy mentioned you. I apologize on his behalf, she said. Sorry. But her expression clearly wasn't one of apology towards me. She said, back then, you were all too young. He really was. Not knowing that girls like you can't afford to waste time. Besides being young, you have nothing else to show for. That comment was a bit harsh, but no one stopped her. Everyone was watching the show. Some had pitying looks, others were delighted. Frida looked at my bare fingers and laughed. Have you still not gotten married yet? Hardy, there's a new colleague at the company, also in his late 30s and unmarried. Like you. Although he's a bit short and bald. He's a nice guy. I'll have him set you up later. At that moment, she said, Hardy walked in. Maybe because work wasn't very busy. A 33-year-old still had a youthful look. He was wearing a Arc'teryx jacket and holding a black LV bag. Looking as refined as the internet celebrities I had once seen. Hardy walked in and immediately saw me. His eyes showed a moment of surprise. But he quickly recovered and turned his gaze away. He sat down Frida next to, gently pinched her cheek with a bit of indulgence, and said, getting into trouble again. My colleague already has a girlfriend. Frida regretfully, oh, said, watching Hardy hold Frida like that. I felt a bit dazed. Long forgotten memories resurfaced partially. In the first few years of our relationship, he would like to hold me, wanting to stick to me all the time, listening to their conversation. It is said that they have been doing well these years. They went traveling together and even raised a corgi. When I was in college, my roommate heard about my story of meeting Hardy. She said, Hardy is a person who acts bravely, and he will definitely be a responsible husband in the future. I couldn't help but look forward to the future, but I didn't consider that he actually didn't want to be my husband. They praised Hardy as a young and successful person, who became the manager of the human resources department in a big company at a young age. Truly a life winner. A female classmate interjected and said, have you seen the cover of the financial magazine last week? WM Tech partner. Only 27. Already financially free. I heard he's going to represent WM Tech to ring the bell at NASDAQ, she said, and pulled out a photo from her phone. Dressed in a suit, with a sharp face. He looked like a mixed-race male model. Handsome enough to cause a round of gasps. If Hardy is the kind of guy you'd feel jealous of, the one who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, then this so-called life winner is so far ahead that it's hard to feel jealous anymore. At that moment, my phone vibrated. Yes, Godfrey sent a message. Report boss. Arrived in New York. He also sent a photo of the airport scenery, but his figure took up a large part of the photo. The weather wasn't very warm. He had taken off his suit, loosened his tie a bit, and had 2 buttons undone on his shirt. It was much better than the serious photo of him in the financial magazine. Suddenly, someone said, Frida is so enthusiastic in introducing. Hasn't even asked Jennifer if she has a boyfriend. I instinctively replied, I'm married. The scene suddenly became quiet. Hardy stopped peeling Frida shrimp. Jennifer, don't joke around. We haven't heard about your marriage. Then why isn't your husband here today? I smiled. He went to ring the bell at NASDAQ. 5 years ago, when I left my job, I took 2 of the department's top subordinates with me. The hardest part of starting a business is the first step. The step of finding the right direction and making a firm decision. I met Godfrey in my 2nd year of starting the business. At that time, Godfrey had just returned from studying abroad and didn't want to take over the family business. He is interviewing everywhere, but keeps facing setbacks. His resume is too good, but his salary requirements are too high, and his practical skills are not as good as those of domestic university graduates. He speaks in a mix of Chinese and English, which seems pretentious. He failed in the first interview and didn't meet me, the boss. But when I left the company after working overtime at night, I saw him. 12 o'clock. The night is deep. The streetlights flicker. He is there, doing push-ups. Seeing me, he quickly got up and walked towards me. Erica. My name is Godfrey. I'm here for the interview at your company. I think your company's direction is very suitable for me. If you don't hire me, it's your loss. He couldn't find a job for a reason, but what he said was right. Good-looking people always get preferential treatment, at least. I didn't call the police. My rented apartment is right next to the company. It's a 10-minute walk. Along the way, Godfrey kept talking non-stop about his excellent academic background and showcasing his abilities. I haven't had a good night's sleep for several days. This man before my eyes was like a fly. Hum hum hum, passing through the alleys of the old city. From far away, I could smell a foul alcohol odor. Two drunk men surrounded a young girl who clearly had just finished working late. The girl looked at us with a desperate look for help. The two drunk men noticed us. When they saw me, their expressions didn't change. Still looking like hooligans. It was Godfrey that made one of the drunk men exclaim, "Shit." I was about to take out my phone to call the police when a black shadow suddenly flew out from behind me. As fast as a champion dog in a dog race. The two drunk men hadn't realized what had happened yet. When they were knocked down Godfrey with one move, the young girl looked at Godfrey with starry eyes, full of admiration and gratitude. It was at that very moment I decided to hire Godfrey. It wasn't his act of heroism that moved me. I was no longer a freshman who had just arrived in the big city. It was because I have to take this route home every day. And he looks good, which would be helpful when bringing him out to seek investments. These days, many people are willing to pay for a good appearance. When a person can serve two purposes, what reason is there not to hire him? Then, I said, "Mr. Godfrey, welcome to join my team." Godfrey's beautiful eyes suddenly sparkled with surprise. It seemed to him that his persistence had influenced me. I was not wrong. A long time later, when he wrote his autobiography, he wrote it like this: "Where there's a will, there's a way. A drop of water can penetrate a stone." Mastering one's wife. At this moment, I continued with difficulty. "But Mr. Godfrey, you see, our company is in the startup phase, and we may not be able to offer the salary you expect." Godfrey shook his head repeatedly. "No problem. 8,000. I looked hesitant. "It might be a bit difficult. I need to discuss it." Godfrey seemed a bit disappointed, but the next day, when he found out that it could be 10,000, he came in happily to start work. He completely forgot that during his initial interview, he had asked for a salary much higher than this. So, he became my employee. We worked together side by side. At first, every time he came to the company, he was dressed neatly and fashionably. His hair was styled with mousse. His beard was neatly trimmed. He wore a well-fitted three-piece suit, and he smelled of a pleasant men's perfume. It seemed to be Creed's Aventus. It's like he came to do a fashion show. It's also like you, who just graduated from school and still goes to work with makeup on. Fortunately, not long after, he became as untidy as the other employees. Once, we worked overtime for a month straight, and on the last night we worked all night. Everyone fell asleep at the company. The next day, I caught Godfrey pinching his own belly and wailing, "Where did my abs go?" The moment he saw me, he inhaled his stomach. I managed to see 6. For a long time after that, he went to the gym, staying an extra hour even when he finished work at 10. The opportunity for his rich second-generation identity to be revealed was during one of my business dinners. I take back the statement. I retract. Starting a business is hard. Before achieving success, every step is difficult. Women at the banquet table are a rare commodity, but they are not noble queens. They are rare ingredients. I was forced to drink 3 rounds of alcohol and still had to smile. When I was dizzy, a fat hand touched my thigh. I smiled at the owner of the hand and said, "By the way, Mr. Parker, you and my boyfriend are alumni. He had already mentioned you to me. You are the most outstanding alumnus of their school. Not only him, but many juniors and seniors also greatly admire you." Mr. Parker's hand paused for a moment, and as I praised him, he smiled and squinted his eyes. The others at the table also joined in. Why haven't I heard Miss Erica talk about her boyfriend before? Does Miss Erica's boyfriend allow Miss Erica to work so hard? What a coincidence. It seems that Miss Erica and Mr. Parker have a great connection. Each sentence was a cunning probe and full of hidden meanings. Mr. Parker laughed heartily. Very coincidental. As he said that, his hand got closer and closer to my inner thigh. I stood up and raised my glass, saying, "So coincidental. I'll drink a glass to Mr. Parker. I'll drink it. Mr. Parker, take it easy." I held back the nausea in my stomach and drank it all in one go. However, Mr. Parker was clearly not that easy to get rid of. He slammed his glass down on the table. The situation suddenly became awkward. Someone lightly tried to ease the tension. Mr. Parker is a gentleman. He can't stand you drinking so much. Ms. Erica is just a woman who doesn't understand our way of doing business. I didn't say anything. Mr. Parker had a face full of muscle, already red-faced and reeking of alcohol. He said, "It seems that Ms. Erica doesn't want this project anymore. Do you think I can't tell if you have a boyfriend? Even if you do, can he be better than me? If he really had talent, would he need you to bring in projects and investments? He's probably just a gold digger, useful only in bed." He was clearly drunk. Someone else joined in. Jennifer, Mr. Parker is showing you some favor. That's your luck. You should seize the opportunity. I had originally wanted to keep some dignity, but I sighed from the bottom of my heart. It seems today was a waste of time. I just laughed and said, "Mr. Parker, I guess we don't need to continue this conversation today." Mr. Parker was stunned and became even more furious. It was no longer just making lewd remarks. His vulgar words came one after another. "Dirty whore. Do you think you're something special? I'm willing to come today is already giving you a lot of face. You're not even worth me calling me to come." In a certain moment, I seemed to have gone back to more than 10 years ago, when I was scolded by that pair of old couple who were targeting young girls' thin skin for money. At that time, I was helpless, relying on Hardy to save me. But now, I threw the wine glass to the ground and coldly laughed. "Mr. Parker, there's no mirror at home, but there should be a toilet. Right. My boyfriend has six-pack abs, is of 8 nationalities, and speaks 8 languages. I'm used to good things. I can't eat Mr. Parker like this." It was at that moment I saw Godfrey standing at the entrance of the private room. Half an hour ago, I sent him a message to come and take care of the situation, but I don't know how long he has been here, or how much he has heard. His expression was a bit stiff. All eyes were focused on him. He must have rushed from the gym, wearing a t-shirt and sweatpants. His hair was still wet, carrying a fresh shower gel scent. His muscles were slightly red and tense from exercise, outlining the lines of his t-shirt. That model-like face made everyone's breathing pause for a moment. I looked at him, and for some reason, his face turned red, and he said his first words after arriving. "Yes, I am of 8 nationalities. I don't know how it started." Mr. Parker's face accidentally ended up Godfrey's fist. Mr. Parker shouted he was going to call the police. "I'm going to make you bankrupt. UWM Technology. This little broken company. I'll make it go bankrupt tomorrow." My heart skipped a beat. I felt a bit regretful for my earlier impulsiveness, but if I had the chance again, I would do it the same way. Godfrey looked at me with a heavy expression, feeling a bit guilty, and said, "Ms. Erica, should I not have hit him? My mom often says I don't think before I act." Despite my inner unease, I didn't show it. I smiled at him and said, "No, I should thank you." Godfrey was taken aback. "You don't need to feel guilty. I called you over, already anticipated what was going to happen next. After all, a year ago, when we first met, you took down 2 hooligans, didn't you? You did a great job." Godfrey's face seemed a bit red. His eyes were sparkling. "It's strange. Tonight I was the one coming to the gathering, not him. Did he also drink? Maybe he was just too nervous." So I comforted him again. "I'll hire a lawyer for you, and I'll pay the compensation." But a few minutes later, Mr. Parker suddenly withdrew the police report himself. He looked at Godfrey with a look of fear. "I didn't expect that, Ms. Erica's boyfriend was Mr. Godfrey. Why didn't you say so earlier? We're all family, and he was so polite with me just now." Mr. Parker bowed and scraped, and sent me and Godfrey to the car. He turned on a dime with smooth and fluent ease. The dazzling lights outside the car window were the city's reflections. It was 10 o'clock, and the highway was still a bit congested. I and Godfrey sat in the back of the car. His thigh accidentally touched mine. I glanced at him. He quietly closed his legs. After being quiet for a long time, I said, "Don't you have something to say to me, Godfrey?" "Oh," he exclaimed, looking at me in alarm. "Did you figure it out?" I nodded. "That obvious? Isn't that obvious enough? Was it Mr. Parker's face changing that wasn't smooth enough, or the pronunciation of the 3 words, Mr. Godfrey? That wasn't standard. Godfrey placed his long, slender fingers on his track pants, and after hearing my words, suddenly tightened them. His knuckles were pink. I'm not sure if it was my imagination, but they looked even pinker than before. I said, I just want to know about your subordinates. If you don't want to talk about it, it's okay. I won't force you. He interrupted me. No, I just feel that I haven't found a suitable moment to say. At this moment, it's not formal. Nothing is prepared. I'm not saying I'm not prepared. The things are at home, and there are still some. What kind of preparation is needed? Do you mean he will come back in a big way only after my company goes bankrupt? I smiled and said, it's okay. No need to prepare anything. Just say it directly. Godfrey heard that and slightly pressed his lips, as if encouraging himself silently. The next second, both of us spoke at the same time. I know you are actually a rich kid. Jennifer, I like you. It was the driver's laughter that finally broke the awkwardness. The next day, in the company, Godfrey turned around and left the moment he saw me. After taking a few steps, he seemed to think there was nothing to be afraid of, and turned back. He pretended to be calm and greeted me. I saw the dark circles under his eyes. He changed his perfume. It smelled bitter. Very unique. I turned and called out to Godfrey, who was about to leave. Wait. He suddenly stopped. His eyes filled with hope. I hesitated for a moment, then asked, what perfume are you wearing? After a few seconds of silence, he gave the name of a perfume. Before I could say anything else, he had already disappeared. Those few days later, Godfrey kept avoiding me, until his work was out of focus, and he made a big mistake. It was the first time I considered firing him. When I called him, the background noise was very loud. Where are you? He said. What's it to you? I'm in a bar. The client specifically asked him to handle it, so I had no choice but to let him return quickly. Upon hearing my words, Godfrey raised his voice and said, you already rejected me, and you don't even allow me to drown my sorrows in alcohol. I paused for a moment and said, I'm in the office. On speakerphone, Godfrey was silent for a few seconds on the other end, then said, I'm coming over, and then hung up. There are many smart people around me, especially after WM technology has been developing better and better. More and more people are joining in because of this. Even those who are not smart enough are certainly very self-serving. The intrigue in the workplace has increased, and balancing the interests of all parties has cost me a lot of time. I not only gave up the idea of firing Godfrey, but I even thought, it might be not so bad to be together. Once this thought came up, it spread like wildfire, making my heart race uncontrollably. One evening after work, I stopped Godfrey. Our relationship began with my straightforward question, do you still like me? We talked for 2 years like that. When Godfrey proposed, I was a bit stunned. We had been dating for 10 years, but we had never reached this point. I haven't thought of Hardy. If, many years ago, Hardy had proposed to me, I would probably be at home raising children now. I didn't accept immediately. I need some time to think. My career isn't stable yet. I don't know if it can provide us with a good life in the future. After my mother-in-law invested $200 million in my company, we got married and registered our marriage. The most important thing for success is opportunity. Some people rely on the times. Some people rely on their family background. Some people rely on their father-in-law. I rely on my mother-in-law. I don't feel ashamed. I took the advantage. But in the future, we will be a win-win. WM Technology became a joint property of the couple after its listing. So this time, I let Godfrey go to the NASDAQ bell ringing ceremony for us, as a small gift for my mother-in-law. This woman, who had always been strong and had only failed in educating her son, never dreamed that her son would one day ring the NASDAQ bell. As for me, my partner, which is also my former top subordinates, all thought I was about to go crazy from overworking and needed to take part in some leisure activities. For example, a class reunion. They found me a bicycle from somewhere. They said it was made of full titanium screws. But anyway, they don't know much. So they just bought it, costing $500,000. It seems a bit more expensive than Hardy's Mercedes C-Class. People generally have a good impression of the second generation of the rich. But people always have harsh judgments towards those who become rich on their own. How did she succeed? It's impossible. She's only in her 30s. And her family background is also average. Does such a thing exist? Anyway, I don't believe it. It's like writing a novel. Even novels wouldn't be so exaggerated. A plain, ordinary woman. Yes, I am plain and ordinary. But it seems that fate decides to give you a little favor at the moment you work hard. Life will always have a few opportunities. Fleeting. And sometimes you don't even realize they are your opportunities. Once you catch it, you will soar. I wasn't prepared to confess my current situation to my college classmates. I was just riding my bike, having a meal, meeting some old classmates, and relaxing. The sound of people's laughter filled the private room. Jennifer, when did you start liking to joke so much? Frida laughed heartily while saying, Mom, you must be dreaming. It's daytime now. Hardy looked at me with a look of disgust. He thought that talking to me was his stain. At that moment, a waiter came in and knocked on the door. Which guest parked the bicycle outside and had the handlebar knocked out of shape by a car. The gentleman was in a hurry. He gave us 200 and asked us to give it to you. The waiter specifically brought over 200 in cash. Someone immediately said, "It's Jennifer S. Only she comes by bicycle." After saying that, someone laughed again. The handlebar was knocked out of shape. I thought for a moment and said, 200 might not be enough. The laughter stopped for a moment, then burst out even louder. Frida cried with laughter. "Big sister, take the 200. It's just a broken bicycle." A female classmate who lived next to me in college spoke up for me. "Isn't cycling popular now? I heard some bikes are quite expensive." Jennifer, that one doesn't look cheap. But her words were quickly drowned out by laughter. I didn't want to bother with them. So I said to the waiter, "Do you have the contact information of that gentleman? I'll send him the repair bill later. I'm not sure exactly how much it will cost right now. I heard it's imported. Not sure if I should send it abroad for repairs." The gift I just received got smashed like this. My mood was really not good. The waiter's eyes flashed with disdain, as if he thought I was trying to cheat. But, due to his professional ethics, he still went to contact the person for me. As soon as the phone was answered, the other side was very impatient, also thinking I was being troublesome. People in the private room also advised me, "Jennifer, 200 is already a lot." I sighed and showed the payment screenshot to the server, asking him to send it over. The server looked at it twice and rubbed his eyes in disbelief. "Miss, are you a professional scammer?" A male classmate came over to look at my phone screen, and after seeing it, he screamed, 58,000. Wait, 580,000. The laughter in the private room suddenly stopped. "You can contact my secretary later." I gave the server my secretary's contact information and then sat back down. The people around had various expressions. Someone spoke up to confirm. "Jennifer, how come you bought a 580,000 bike?" Some people whispered, "Is it P?" I said, "It was a gift from friends." The person who asked felt relieved. I said, "How could it be something you bought?" After saying that, he felt it was inappropriate and tried to cover it up. "I didn't mean to say you can't afford it. I mean, it's not worth it." "Was it a group gift from several people?" "That's why. We thought, Jennifer, you had become rich." Ha ha ha. Only the female classmate who had spoken up for me muttered with a laugh. "Even if 58 people bought it, it would still be 10,000 each." But no one paid attention. The food soon arrived, and in the private room, people were calling each other brothers, making a lot of noise, smoking, and creating a smoky atmosphere. I went out for some fresh air. The moment I was standing by the street looking at the moon, someone suddenly came beside me. "It's Hardy." He came out to smoke. After many years, he called my name. "Jennifer, we haven't been in touch for many years." I nodded. "Yes. After all, you deleted me from all over the internet back then." Hardy continued. "I left you a message on the music app, under the song we often listened to together. I can't remember which song it was." He had also drunk a lot, and he even wanted to start reminiscing about the past. I politely smiled and said, "I didn't have much time to listen to music later on." Hardy lowered his eyes and looked at me, a hint of helplessness on his lips, as if I were being stubborn and refusing to admit defeat. "You're still the same as before, always wanting to win in words. You were like that back then too. If you had just been willing to apologize a little, maybe we wouldn't have broken up." "Me," he continued saying, "I still remember the first time I saw you. I felt you were different from any girl I had ever met before. They were all spoiled, capricious, chasing brand names, and spending money like water. But in the end, he still chose to marry a girl like that. I don't quite understand him. In an instant, I understood. Because he is also such a person, just with a different gender. Everyone has their own personality, and it's neither right nor wrong. It's just that he grew up in this environment and was exposed to many things early on, making it hard for him to resist material temptations. But this is just a small part of his personality. Over the years, my team members have come from all over the world. People from each place have different personalities, shaped by their regional backgrounds. But in the end, they are defined by themselves. However, at the moment Hardy obviously wasn't interested in discussing this with me. He lowered his voice, which was a bit hoarse and sexy, and said, "Jennifer, have you thought about me these years? What would we be like now if we hadn't broken up? It's a nightmare." I didn't respond, and said with a smile, "Your wife is very beautiful." Hardy let out a bitter laugh. "Jennifer, you're still angry with me, aren't you?" I thought he might have been too drunk to understand what I was saying. "You only see how beautiful she is, but you don't see that she can't cook at all. We haven't cooked at home for these years. Either I eat at the company or go out. I can't even get a warm meal when I get home. It would be laughed at if people knew. And she collects all those online game accessories. She buys a cat, thinks it's not cute, doesn't want to keep it anymore, and gives it away. Over the years, she's bought and given away 5 or 6 cats. I didn't want to listen anymore, so I turned around and left. He hurried to catch up, and said behind me, "Don't try to be strong. I know, you've never forgotten me, and you're still not married." I was speechless for a moment. He wasn't still in love with me. He just couldn't help but seek superiority from me. You see, this woman and I broke up, and after being hurt, she never dated another man again, because she couldn't find a man as good as me. It's really funny. I had just returned to the private room, and before I could even finish, Hardy also came back right away. His finger lightly brushed my waist, as if by accident, but based on my many years of experience avoiding leering hands at the dinner table, he must have done it on purpose. I haven't done anything yet. I mentioned it earlier. Godfrey's female classmate excitedly took out her phone and cast the live stream to the private room TV. "Look at my idol. This is much better than those pretty boys in the entertainment industry." On the screen, Godfrey was dressed in a neat suit, with his shirt buttons fastened to the top one. His looks had stood up to the camera. After the professional questions, a reporter joked in Chinese and asked him, "It is said that Mr. Godfrey is already married. I wonder if it's convenient to reveal a bit." Before she could finish speaking, Godfrey interjected, "It's convenient." His eyes lit up, as if he had been waiting for this question for a long time. He couldn't wait to say, "Wife, are you watching the live stream? I guess you're not watching, since you should be at the class reunion. It's okay. I'll show you this part when I get back." Saying that, he made a heart gesture at the camera, and said lovingly, "I love you, Jennifer." I didn't ride my bicycle when I left. The bicycle was sent for repair. The driver came in a Maybach to pick me up. Through the car window, the expressions of the old classmates were very interesting, especially Hardy. His face was green, black, and red, like a color palette. Later, many of those people tried to get in touch with me. "Hardy is the most handsome and outgoing one." "Everything," she replied effortlessly. Oh. Although you didn't make an appointment, you are a classmate of our MS. Erica. That's okay. I'll specially arrange you into the classmate appointment channel. There are still hundreds of people ahead of you. Please be patient. One time, I passed by the secretary's office. Her reply this time was different. She expressed her surprise exaggeratedly, saying, "What? You are our MS. Erica ex-boyfriend. Then before you meet our MS. Erica, you might need to meet our president Godfrey first." Good, adaptable and quick to respond. I gave her an extra bonus. Later, it was again to meet Hardy. And Hardy was the boss of the company he worked for, who just happened to be at the same business cocktail party as me. He was trying to chat with me. Hardy was following behind. If it wasn't for him constantly staring at me, I wouldn't have even noticed him. The end of the text.